"Sir, if she's telling the truth, then we've been hiding this for more than 15 years." Those words made Marine Corps Lieutenant General Richard Hawkins slowly raise his head from the documents on his desk inside the Pentagon. Standing in front of him was a woman wearing an old faded uniform with a Kandahar Medical Unit patch on her shoulder. Her name was Sarah Mitchell, and years ago she had served as a military medic in Afghanistan. Hawkins immediately noticed her hands were trembling, as if part of her was still trapped somewhere in those Afghan mountains. She stayed silent for a few seconds before quietly saying, "We all thought it was just a normal evacuation mission." The room became so silent that even the sound of the air conditioner could be heard. Sarah began talking about the fall of 2011 when her medical team was ordered to escort a group of Marines to an abandoned Soviet bunker near Kandahar. According to the official report, an American reconnaissance unit of 6 men had disappeared there. When they arrived, it looked as if the base had been abandoned within seconds. Vehicles were still running, radios were hissing with static, mugs of coffee were still warm, but there wasn't a single living soul anywhere. Only strange trails of blood stretched toward old metal doors leading deep underground. One of the Marines joked that it felt like a horror movie, but the laughter disappeared the moment they heard the scream. It wasn't just a human scream. The sound was so unnatural and horrifying that even the battle-hardened soldiers froze in place. The squad commander ordered everyone to move underground, and Sarah remembered that it was the exact moment she first realized none of them might make it back alive. She told the general that deep inside the tunnels beneath the bunker, they found more than just traces of the missing soldiers. The concrete walls were covered with scratches, as if something had been desperately trying to claw its way out. Sarah took a deep breath and continued speaking, though fear still filled her eyes even after all these years. She explained that the squad moved carefully through the dark tunnels where flashlights flickered constantly, and the air became colder with every step, as if they were descending into some frozen abyss rather than underground. One of the Marines, Sergeant Michael Reynolds from Texas, suddenly heard the voice of his little daughter coming through his radio. The problem was that communications inside the bunker had been dead the entire time. At first, they assumed it was a malfunction, but then each Marine began hearing different voices: wives, brothers, friends, people who were thousands of miles away from Afghanistan. Sarah said that was the moment they realized something inside those tunnels was terribly wrong. Reynolds couldn't resist and walked into the darkness following his daughter's voice. Seconds later, a loud metallic crash echoed through the bunker, followed by a scream that ended so suddenly it sounded as if someone had been ripped out of reality itself. The Marines immediately opened fire into the darkness, and that's when they saw the eyes for the first time. Dozens of pale yellow eyes moving far too fast for any human being. Sarah remembered one of the soldiers screaming that the bullets weren't stopping them before something massive lunged directly at the squad. Panic exploded instantly. Gunfire, blood, screams, and flashing lights blended into pure chaos. The commander ordered everyone to retreat to the surface while he and 2 other Marines stayed behind to cover them. Sarah said the last thing she saw before escaping was the darkness itself pulling those men deep into the tunnel. When she finished her story, General Hawkins silently opened a hidden safe inside his office wall and pulled out an old black folder marked with a red classified stamp. He placed it on the table in front of Sarah, and her face immediately turned pale, because written across the cover were the words, "Project Silence. Survivors must remain silent."